For both of us, the moment we met Chris, it was like
Yeah.
signed, sealed, delivered. I have to work with this guy.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
He's a hoot.
So what was it about this movie that made you want to take the roles?
For me, the moment I opened the script, I was intrigued. And then I got to the part of the movie, the montage, where it says, Tree tries to find out who her killer is, dies 7 times, set to upbeat pop music. And I was like, I have to do this movie. Because the amazing combination of horror and comedy just made it such an wonderful roller coaster. And not only that, but Tree gets to transform from this really despicable character to kind of this badass heroine. And I mean, who doesn't want to do that?
And what about you?
Very much the same. I mean, when I started reading the script, I was reading it expecting to read, just horror, and not a huge fan of horror. I get scared reading a horror story and watching a horror movie, so I was like, all right. But I was reading it, and there was so much more in it. There were so many elements, and I loved the character. And I'm a big fan of Terry Taylor, who did the casting. And
she's amazing.
Yeah.
And also for both of us, the moment we met Chris, it was like signed, sealed, delivered.
I
have to work with this guy.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
He's a hoot.
Tree's transformation is really dramatic, but it doesn't feel forced or anything. How did you go about finding those layers?
Chris was instrumental to that. Chris Landon, our director. A lot of it was rehearsal. A lot of it was reading and rereading the script and kind of mapping it out. And a big conversation we had was, how do you make her self-centered and unlikable at the beginning, but not so much so that we don't believe she can transform in this amount of time? Because if she had started out like Danielle, people might not buy that there's this person underneath. But we discovered that with Tree, the key to it was that all of her narcissism and all of her kind of disdain for other people was just a mask covering a very sweet, smart, funny girl underneath, and that it was just a protection, and it wasn't who she really was. So the film is actually an opportunity to lift those things away and see who she is.
What about filming? I mean, I know when you're filming, you have to film stuff over and over, but this was filming actual scenes over and over. How did you keep it fresh?
I think just naturally it would be fresh because we brought a lot of energy to it. Chris had a lot of great ideas while we were doing it. We do one take and then he's like, okay, wait, what about doing this? It's like, well, have a conversation and that would lead to something else. So I feel like even though we were kind of limited, we didn't want to go too far out of the day because obviously it's repeating itself, but we still had a little bit of room to play around with. And I feel the way we found ways to play around with it, it kept it very alive and very fun.
It was like we would find little treasures of new moments that would surprise both of us.
And would come up organically, too.
Yeah, it would come up organically because we established so clearly what that first day was, that then when we would veer off and away from it in any way, it would just organically kind of be like, oh.
Right.